Hello, everyone. Welcome to Talk of the Town. This is show number 416, believe it or not. This is the Three Amigos show. It's kind of like the Three Amigos minus a bunch of them because there's only two here tonight, and we're kind of backups. We're not the original ones. Not that they are good as us, because they're not. But other than that, I want to get some business done tonight. I want to thank our underwriters and Cape Auto Body and Service, 2 locations on Somerset Street and Sandwich Street. I was there twice today. I brought my daughter's car and my own car down for inspection stickers. The month's halfway over, so please, bring your cars in. You don't want to be caught with old stickers. And then we have One Stop Painting, Jeff Cohen. Everyone knows Jeff. He does everything. He does wallpapering, gutter cleaning, deck staining, and Jeff's just the best at it. And then we have Brewster PC Solutions with Wrestling Brewster. Wrestling has a show here, and you should watch it because he'll give you a lot of information on the security of your computers and problems that might come up. So Wrestling's a good man to go to. And don't forget Quintel's Farmers Market at 1 Scooby Circle. You can't believe it's Saturdays and Sundays. He's open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. every Saturday and Sunday. He has a variety of fruits and vegetables and other specialty items. You can't beat the prices there, and Dick's a great guy. So the only other business I got left is, I know it's hard to believe since the election's over and the inauguration is tomorrow, but the election time is coming up again, and the selectmen's race that will be this coming year. I'd like to invite everybody for tomorrow to Friends of Mark Garrett. Mark Garrett is running for selectman, and tomorrow at the Tavern on the Wharf from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Well, he's inviting everyone to come down to meet. If you don't know Mark, go down, meet him, talk to him. Mark's a great guy. He's been involved in this town in different committees and planning board, zoning board of appeals, all kinds of committees. Mark doesn't have an agenda. Mark's always been out, in my opinion anyway, for the town of Plymouth. So please, if you don't know Mark, go down and meet him, ask your questions. He'll definitely answer them for you. So that's all the business we got to take care of. And tonight we have a special guest, someone that I really respect. His name is Ed Angley. He's here. He's an attorney in Plymouth. And I'd like to introduce you to Ed.
Good evening. My name's Ed Angley, and I've lived in Plymouth since 1970, practiced law here since 1970, and I do consider myself a townie. So with that, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And as we all know, there's a lot of stuff going on around town. One is the sewer system and the replacement of it. I guess they're going to have all the exposed pipes be buried soon, put underground. They're going to start with the secondary pipe. There's still no decision on the cost and how it's going to be paid. I spoke up at the selectmen's meeting and a few weeks ago, and my opinion is that the town voted for that. That was on the ballot, along with the 2 schools and the sewer system and the senior center, and the whole town voted for that. I have my own septic. I'm not on town sewer, but I believe that should be a town project. You can't expect 3,300 people who are lied to, or not really lied to, but their promises of expansion of the pipe and many uses to keep the price down. It never happened.
You're absolutely right.
So, this is the town of Plymouth, and I think that's what I feel about it. Taxes, like I said, we had all those overrides, $199 million, and now, that causes our taxes to go up. Maybe, maybe we could do more to save money. I don't know about the town's end, but I see a $90 million on the school end, and I have a problem with that. It's an awful lot of money. Last year was over $90 million. They took back, they gave back $150,000, which, I'm sorry, not a hell of a lot of money. But then they show up at town meeting with an article for $40,000 for a new projector for a planetarium PCIS. I mean, I'm driving a car that's 5 years old because I don't want a second car payment. I try to conserve my money. I'm on a budget. I don't think they're on a budget. I think they get their wish list every year, and that's not the selectmen's fault. That's town meeting's fault. Town meeting members have the right to can't tell them how to spend the money, but can tell them how much money they're going to get. So those are there's a lot of topics, and then of course there is tomorrow. Friday. I'm sorry, Friday. The big day Friday, where the United States is going to end as we know it today. The guy hasn't even gotten in office yet, but already, the country's going to go to pot. Well, not in Massachusetts because they delayed it another 6 months, but the country's not going to fold. Give the guy a chance. That's all he said. Give him a chance. And it's I hear all these things about all these celebrities. If Trump gets elected, I'm leaving the United States. Please do. You got till Friday. I hope you're out by then. And see where all your money goes when you go to these other countries, and what's going to happen to you there. You'd be glad to have Trump or be back in this country anyway. But it's just too much negativity. I think, is it a perfect world? No. Could Trump, I wish he'd stop his damn tweeting. But, I voted for him, and I think a lot of people voted for him because they wanted a change. They didn't vote for Trump because they wanted him. They didn't vote for Hillary because they wanted her. They were tired of what's going on in this country, and they wanted a change. And they voted for a change. And Trump won, Hillary lost. So, and I'm glad myself, but, so that's a couple topics. Ed, come in anytime you want.
Well, you talked about the snowflakes who are all melting on Friday. I wish what they'd do is read the Constitution, since we are a constitutional republic. We're not a democracy. And it was put in for a reason. If you had a pure democracy, California and New York would simply outvote Rhode Island, Vermont, Montana, Utah, and that's not the way it was set up. So I'm a strict constructionalist. I'm a lawyer, and I believe the Constitution should be read as it was written. But enough on the national politics. I don't think the world's going to end on Friday. And I agree with you, Trump should stop using his little tweeter. No pun intended. On the town scene, you mentioned the sewer. I do think that the DPW and the administration did a phenomenal job in correcting it.
I agree.
I don't know how you're going to pay for it, which gets us into a real issue in town, and that is the taxes. We have a lot of older people. Well, you and I are getting pretty old too, but elderly people on fixed income. And I see my tax bill every year just jumping up. And I talk to a lot of people, and they say the same thing. The taxes are going up. We need to go find alternate sources of income, a different revenue stream. And that what I've always specialized in is commercial real estate transactions and zoning and planning. I was the attorney involved in a number of the biggest projects in town. And my clients always have offered the town things. We need to go out and get more industry, more commercial development, although commercial development right at the moment is
retail.
Retail is not thriving because of the Amazon phenomenon where you have internet sales. But still, you could have all sorts of smaller businesses that still pay taxes, and then that rolls us into the sewer. Who pays for it? Well, if I go downtown and I go to a restaurant, that is on the town sewer.
Yep.
If people stopped going downtown because you didn't have any sewer, because you wouldn't have any restaurants, you wouldn't have people coming in from out of town, you wouldn't have tourists, you wouldn't have money for that. So I think it's wrong-headed to say just the people on the sewer should pay for it. I think it was, as you said, it was a passed by town meeting. It should be state, town-wide
Yep.
on the tax rolls.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
And while I think our educators are doing a good job with the schools, it's a universal problem. How do we continue to pay for this stuff? How do we continue to have every year the taxes go up, everything increases? Now, I know part of that's insurance. There ought to be some way that could be fixed. Oh yeah, that's right. We are going to fix that, aren't we?
Yeah, with the state, I forget what it's called, but the state came in with a new insurance program that the town opted in. So that's going to help. Also, I think they're going to negotiate the amount that the employees pay to their insurance will go up. Hopefully the benefits will stay the same, but they will pay more into their funds. But, you, as you said, you represented some of the biggest developers in the town. And it's hard now. I know someone who wants to come to Plymouth, and it's a business. He can't find space to go because of the zoning. And not only that, we had a chance at town meeting to pass the height restriction from 35 feet up, which would have brought in more commercial businesses, commercial property, which would help with the tax rate. But town meeting, said no.
We should abolish the town meeting.
I agree. I think town meeting has served its purpose. I'm a town meeting member. I've been for a while, but I would love to see either a mayor or a city council. They meet twice a year. Right now, town meeting meets twice a year. Everything has to wait. Everything has to wait till May or October, and a lot of stuff that goes on. And the other thing I think is we got to do something about our zoning, which right now is tough because.
Well, there's a movement. There's a whole group of people out there. No, not a big group of people, but there's a very vocal group of people who want to restrict the zoning. They want to make it even tougher. They want to turn this into a park.
Yep.
And we got enough parks. We have enough. The town of Plymouth probably has 47% of it in open space, in town forest, state forest, wildlands trust.
You're right. I talked to Jessica Casey, who's our economic developer, and a few months ago, she told me that over 40% of the land in Plymouth is either open space or in conservation. We need to rezone to we can put more zoning into commercial or industrial. I mean, but now it seems like no matter what we try, the solar bylaw, 3 years in the making, it hasn't even been a year yet, and people are in now to lower the amount of acreage. It was 30, now it's down to 15. They had a committee, that met for over 2 years, and they come up with this, and there were agricultural people there. There was all different kinds of people that would come to these meetings and they would speak, and this is a decision they come up with. Now they want to narrow it down to 5 acres. I talked to one developer, and he even spoke at the town meeting.
That's commercially unreasonable.
He said you will get nobody, and
That's the point.
Yep, and that's what they want. They don't want solar, and they're talking about you're cutting down the trees, you're deforesting everything. Well, 15 acres. If a development went in, that's at least 5 homes. That's 5 septic systems, 5 wells, 2 cars per house, 2.5 trips a day. Then you get the lawnmowers, the chainsaws, and all that affects the environment. So no animals are going to come back there because it's just too damn noisy and too busy. The solar field, once it's in, hardly anybody's ever going to go there for 20 years. A few fixes here or there, but other than that, so the animals would go back there,
Do you know what? At the end of the Civil War, 85% of Massachusetts was deforested. Plymouth, I don't know, not the pine stuff down there, but take a look at the old pictures. All the trees are gone. We've got more trees here today than we did at the time of the Civil War. We got enough trees.
Yep. And the other thing, too, is I moved to Plymouth back in the 70s because houses were reasonable. And they were reasonable because land was reasonable. Now what we're taking all this land and we're putting it in conservation, open space, or whatever, now the value of the land goes up, the prices of houses go up, and then people are saying, gee, my kids can't afford to live in Plymouth. You're right. You know, the prices of houses have gone way up, and that's part, not the only reason, but that's part of the reason, because they're driving the price of the land up. And, you know, I'm sorry, if I had a choice of a development of 15 to 17 houses or a solar field close to me, I would rather have the solar field. Just think, you're not going to hear any lawnmowers, any dogs, any wild parties, or anything else. It's going to be dead silent. So I don't understand this big fixation that we have to save every tree in the town of Plymouth.
And, you know, you listen, you ask people, where does our energy going to come? Where is it going to come from? So we're not going to have nuclear. That's
gone.
Everybody says we're not going to do nuclear. Okay, coal is dirty, so we're not going to use coal. We don't want to have gas because you frack to get gas. You can't burn wood because the EPA, I just read something about up in Alaska, they're requiring people to get new kinds of wood-burning stoves to meet
Right, they have catalytic converters in them now.
regulations. And so you try to put a wind turbine in the town of Plymouth, forget that, and then you've got solar. So now we're attacking solar. So how do I keep warm? Move to Florida.
Yeah, you know, it's there's just a lot going on, and it's just, there's a vocal group out there who want to stop any kind of development anywhere in the town of Plymouth. And basically, it's not in my backyard, it's a lot of it. I really feel that way. And it's not in the best interest of the whole town. You know, it gets very frustrating when I get your tax bill. Wow, 7%. These are some of the reasons that why the taxes are going up. Hold on, we have Mr. Ken who wants to bring up a
I
point.
want to bring up a point. Now, I have to speak up so that everybody can hear me. I have not heard the uproar over the 2 solar fields that are down on Bourne Road for 80 Makepeace. They're in Plymouth. Nobody said we don't want them. Why?
It's not in their backyard.
Ah.
You know,
I have a client who is in the cranberry business and other businesses in a different town. And a company has come in and put in this massive solar field in an area that had been an old gravel pit. And some cranberry bogs, he's not an Ocean Spray, so he's getting nothing for his berries. So now he's got solar fields there.
Yeah.
He's got a good income coming in for his family. The town is getting tax revenue on it, on all the equipment and on the real estate.
yep.
And I've seen the tax bill go from what it was in this town, jump way up. But the solar people are paying the difference.
Yep. You know, they're helping our tax rate. You know, and you know, if you put houses in, you put solar field in, you're going to cut down trees. What I don't, you
They'll
know,
grow back.
they'll grow back eventually. Look at all, like Ed said, 85% of the trees were gone after the Civil War. We got more today. And we have 100 and something miles of property. There's room for everything. And, you know, and solar fields aren't going everywhere. They have to be close to where it's convenient to hook up to the grid. So they're not going to go in everybody's backyard. I have solar on my roof. You know, if I, you know, if I know other people that have ground-mounted ones on their yard, you know, to do their own homes. So you know,
Yeah, people forget that you have to be near a power line
right,
in order to tie the solar field into it.
Right. You know, you're not going. So they're not going everywhere, and you know, and that's the impression that people give. We got to limit to 5 acres because they could go everywhere. It's not true. It's not true.
Well, I'm not so sure they can limit it anyway. The state law says that solar fields are exempt from that stuff.
Well, the new bylaw is, I guess, supposedly legal. It's been vetted through, oh God, the town's
Copeland
attorney,
and Page.
Copeland and Page.
Oh, that's a real endorsement.
That's, well, yeah, that's true too. But, you know, it's, you know, we got to learn to live together. And right now, it just seems everything's swinging the other way. at least in my opinion anyway. So, I mean, these people have good intentions, I think some of them, and some of them, like I said, are not in my backyard. And I live down by the ones in AD Makepeace, and I go by the road every day. But, you know, when they first went up, they didn't have the buffer in. And now the buffer is in. I still can see them, but, you know, I go by so many times a day, I don't even notice them. You know, I don't even know they're there.
Can you remember what the buffer is on those?
I think 100 and something feet, 150 feet.
150 feet.
And, you know, they put most of the trees back, and any of the trees get die or anything like that, they're going to replace them. So, but, you know, like I said, I don't hear them. I hear no noise over there, you know, absolutely none. And, you know, I drive by the road 30 miles an hour for however much it is. I don't even notice them. You know, and if they're sitting in with 150 buffer, which they expanded the buffer as a new bylaw, I don't think you're going to see them either. Even from, you know, if you're up in your second floor in your house, you're looking out the window staring at them, you're going to see them. But other than that, if you're walking by your window, you're not going to really notice them. So I don't know what the big problem is.
New topic.
Yes.
Would you and Ed try to explain to the viewing audience, because I know Ed has the expertise on this, as of right height requirements and why there's such why is there such a lack of wanting to do a 50-foot height requirement, and people keep going back to, well, we have an as of right at 35, you don't need a special permit for 50. Could you delve into that a little bit to kind of explain it
Well,
to those of us that don't really?
the 35-foot height limitation, I don't know where that came from. It was 1973 when they put the zoning bylaw in town, and it probably came from some group. I know what group it was. It was the Harvard School of Design, that student project, and 35 feet seemed like a nice idea. So that's there, and that you can do because it's allowed. You don't need permission from anybody. A 50-foot height, I suppose it's aesthetics that people object to. I don't know why you would object to it out in the industrial park. I can see why you might object to it down on the waterfront, because you knock everybody's views out, and you know they've traditionally been there for 350 years. People who oppose it should explain it, not just oppose it. But I don't know why you wouldn't go out to Camelot Park and put up 50-foot high buildings. They make it look like it's, I guess maybe people don't want it to look like a city. But it is a city.
Town meeting, at the last town meeting when the height restriction came up, there was a lot of people that got up and spoke at town meeting against it. We're not a city, we don't need it.
Yeah, see there.
You know, we don't need it, it's not Plymouth, you know, we're Plymouth, we're a town. And the bylaw was just gonna be parts for the industrial park at exit 7. It wasn't gonna be downtown, it wasn't gonna be any residential, it was restricted to that one area, and they still fought it, and they said no. Town meeting voted against it. So this,
We do have a 55-foot zone at exit 5.
Really?
Everything out behind. Yeah,
Down by Camelot Park?
yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Huh.
At least some of that. I'd have to look at the map, but I'm pretty sure that that went in back in the time when you had Loring Tripp was on the planning board. So
Okay.
I'm just giving you a time frame when that.
Right.
I can't remember 10 years.
Been a while.
So you know, if you want to, that's not Plymouth. Well, imagine if the Pilgrim Fathers had said, "Oh, we can't use any modern stuff. You can't do this. You have to use sticks and mud and put thatch roofs on those things. Good luck." You know, times change. You ought to change with the times. I'm old and I'm willing to change.
I'm not as old as him, but I'm willing to change too.
Oh, we already had a president on that, didn't we? Hope and Change.
Hope and change.
How'd that work out?
That hasn't worked out too well. Hasn't worked out well at all. But we're only 3 people, and I know 2 people that are watching that feel the same way.
Yeah.
Only 2 that I know are watching, because the rest aren't brave enough to let people hear them on the phone.
Please
Phone
call.
number.
Please call in. This is a talk show, and we welcome phone calls. The number to call is 508-830-3971. So if you want to talk to either one of us or tell us we're wrong or don't agree with us, that's fine. We won't bite your head off. We.
Wait a minute, talk for yourself. I will.
He will. I won't. This is our opinion, and you have the right to yours. So please call and let us know. There's been a lot of talk about the opium epidemic. I don't know what the solution is. I really don't.
Nobody else does.
I grew up and I think I drank beer. We used to go get beer and hide in the woods and drink our beer. And I never knew what heroin was or any of that stuff. And kids now know more than we do all the time, than we ever did. And it's more available now. And I think the police are doing everything they can.
It's cheaper than whiskey.
Yeah, it's cheaper than whiskey. It's, I know they're trying to crack down on it. I know a lot of it was prescriptions. I know I went to the doctor the other day and, I had to have some cortisone shots. And I said, gee, I'm in a lot of pain. Yeah, take some Advil. So even doctors now are trying to cut down on the use of opiums, products.
You could probably throw some blame at the pharmaceutical industry.
Oh, of course.
And the oxycodone
Yep.
type of things that were just grossly overprescribed.
Yep.
And hooked numbers and numbers of people.
Yep. My wife had hip surgery a few years ago, and I'll tell you, they gave her a prescription, and she never used half of them. Yes, caller, go ahead. Hello? Are you there?
Hey guys, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi guys.
How you doing?
Hello?
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 Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, there's a delay on the phone.
Right, there will be a delay. All right, go ahead and talk to us.
Hi guys. Great show. I was just, I agree with you both. I agree with you both.
Go ahead.
This town is a communist town, though, and we live in a communist country, and it's really depressing to think about. What we really need to do is repent and just believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, really, because that's the only solution. Because if you're young nowadays, you really have nothing to look forward to other than being beaten down by the government, barely surviving, no future, maybe living in the woods, and it's just really depressing. I wish it wasn't like that because Plymouth is a beautiful town. I'm sure you guys would agree.
We do agree.
But really, my only hope is that the Lord will come back and destroy the wicked and just create like a new, like the Bible says, a new heaven and a new earth and establish His kingdom on earth.
Well, you have a good point. I do believe that our secular society has taken God, taken any spiritual beliefs totally out of everything. And maybe we need to go back to some of that.
Yes.
I think so. Also, you can't.
Yes, definitely.
You can't pray in school. You don't have to say. You don't have to say the Pledge of Allegiance because it has God in it. This whole country was founded on God, on religious purposes. For people came here to be able to.
But really, it's so hard nowadays. It's so hard just to make a living when the government beats you down.
Well, that's the power of the votes. We need to get people out to vote. We need to get good people to run. We need to get good people out there who are going to do the work of the people, and that's what the people want.
I think this last national election showed that a huge part of the population felt beaten down. And I think that's why you have Trump as president at the moment.
Yes, yes.
Like I said earlier, people didn't vote for Trump. They didn't vote for Clinton. They voted against the system that's in place.
I think that's accurate.
And, you know, it's pretty bad. Even myself, when I voted, I said to myself, who's the lesser of two evils? Not who's the better person, but who's the lesser of two evils? And I picked Trump because I see Hillary and everything she's done, and everyone's complaining about, you know, all the WikiLeaks and this and that, but WikiLeaks was accurate in what they reported. So all the nasty stuff that's been reported is true. You know, the Clintons, believe me, they are no bargain. They are no bargain.
Well, that's water under the bridge.
Now.
And I personally would like to move forward.
A lot of the people nowadays, I don't know if you guys have noticed, are extremely savage and like just demon possessed. They're just getting more. The world's getting more and more evil.
Well, that's because it's the people. There are fringe groups that are evil. Not all people evil. Most people, I believe, are good in heart. You know, a lot of people are just good, hardworking people. You have your extremists and everything. But we appreciate your view, and we thank you for calling.
Yeah, thank you for
again.
calling.
Thank you. So, the opium, like I said, crisis, like Ed said, the pharmaceutical companies, they push all this stuff out. If you ever been to your doctor's office, he'll say, excuse me, I got my rep coming in, and he's going to give me all these samples and want me to push his product. And up until a few years ago, they were getting trips and getting kickbacks, and the government stopped that. Not all doctors, but there was some. And I think a lot of doctors, you know, they overprescribe because they don't want the patient calling back. You know, they do this surgery, you know, you're going to hit, you know, this is your recovery, I see you once, and then you go to rehab or whatever.
I had a very, very, very good friend of mine who's died recently, and he was a DEA agent. He was in prescription drug enforcement, and when I had my back surgeries a lot of years ago, I was taking Percocet,
Percodan, Percocet?
one of those things.
Yeah.
And he said, well, he says, that's fine as long as you are managing pain. But as soon as you're not managing pain, stop taking it, which I did.
Yep.
And I just don't know. There's all these kids, all these people that are on heroin. Every single person you know has got somebody that was touched by a death.
It's sad. Like, you know, like Ed said, everyone knows. Everyone knows someone, whether it was a cousin or a friend or whatever. Everyone's been affected by this, and I think that's one of our things we're gonna. I don't know. I think the police are doing what they can.
They're so totally outgunned, outmanned.
Yeah,
and I think if you talked with the chief, and he'd tell you that Plymouth is almost the epicenter of drug dealing in the South Shore.
You know, and he's doing the best he can. He has this group that meets, I think, down at different churches, and they bring in groups, rehab groups and counselors, and to help people that have members of their family that are addicted. And also, when people go and they're addicted to these problems, some of them they take right from this thing. After talking to them, they get them beds in rehab. So they're doing, you know, it's not just we caught you, you're going to jail. That's not it's not really not the way that it is if you're a distributor, or that's one thing. But if you're a user, what they're doing now is they have programs from the courts on down that they're trying to work on to get people, cured from this addiction.
I'm highly impressed with our chief of police.
I am too.
And with our police force.
Yep. I think Plymouth, I look at our DPW, our police, our fire, they do a hell of a great job. They're really good employees. I think they do a real good job. And sometimes they don't get the credit that they deserve.
No, you're right.
But it's a hard job. Police are a hard job. Fire is a hard job. As far as I'm concerned, they can sit in that firehouse all day, and if they don't come to my house, that's a good thing. But when they have to come, they're always there. They're always prepared and ready. So, I don't know what else they can do. I think they're doing everything they can. Yes, caller, go ahead. Go ahead, caller. Hello?
Oh, yeah. Well, I got some trick questions for you.
I got a quick question for
Hello?
you. Where were you today? I was down at your place twice getting
Hello?
stickers. Hello? I was down at your place twice getting stickers.
I didn't see you there today.
I know, because you weren't there.
I was there. I don't know. The delay's real slow here today.
All right, David, go ahead.
Is that David Gallerani?
Yep.
All right, so
Providence
just to
College.
fill you in, on exit 5, where the hotel is where the 36-foot.
Yeah, it's 35 feet at the hotel. I got a variance.
It's because it's below grade, so
Right.
that's the reason that you got the high hotel there.
I know. I was the lawyer who did it.
So, anyways, and then on the solar thing, exit 5. How do you like that beautiful, ugly thing that's out there? What do you think about that?
That is the state of Massachusetts. They are the ones who put that in. The town had no control over what they did there. The town has voiced their, opinions how it's horrible, but that was a state project, and the town had no jurisdiction on that. I thought it was a skate park the way they loop down and forth, but it's a solar field.
Yeah, it's pretty ugly. As far as the rural residential zoning, I feel as if solar panels, if you're making money and you're doing this as a commercial venture, then it shouldn't be in a rural residential area, but that's just my opinion.
Well, if you look at the possibility, you don't want to put them on commercial property because commercial property is more valuable. And the town gets property taxes plus they get the pilot agreement. And it's not like it's like
But that's
I said.
where it belongs.
No. If it goes into commercial, they don't want to go into commercial because it's too expensive. The land is too expensive, so they won't put them. They don't want to put them there. So the only place left in Plymouth, because we don't have that much commercial or industrial land left, is to put in rural residential. And they can't go everywhere, only in certain places. So you're not going to see them in everybody's
Well, I'd
backyard.
like to put a brand new garage on rural residential property then, so that I can have a nice, beautiful garage and use cheaper land.
Well, no, because these are buffeted and you can't see them. They're only like a 5-foot height.
So who would drive out to your garage out in the middle of the woods?
I don't know. I have solar panels on 3 of my buildings.
I have them on my house.
Right, and it works great on the roofs. There's plenty of parking lots to cover. I actually agree with Malcolm. And I usually don't agree with Malcolm on too many things.
The problem is the cost of putting them on parking lots, nobody wants to do it. Nobody's come forward to put solar panels
Yeah, it's
on parking
expensive.
lots.
You have to be commercially reasonable and practical about these things.
No, I agree.
And Malcolm McGregor and I have been friends for 44 years. And I disagree with him almost all the time. Signage.
I'm surprised, you and him should be real pals, being a Boy Scout and all.
Yeah, well, I'll say, he says, well, what do you need a sign for? What do you want me to, I say, what do you want me to take my business and, hide it under a basket? Come on. But at least Malcolm never
All right,
gets
I'm having trouble with this back and forth here because I can't hear you guys that well. So I'm going to let you guys finish your show. Thanks a lot. Have a good job.
Okay, David, you too. Take care. That was David Gallerani. He calls almost every week. He's our regular. And no, we don't pay him to call. He does it for nothing. But, you know, we've had a couple of calls. Anybody else like to call in, please feel free to call.
Well, everybody else is watching Bill O'Reilly.
And the number is 508-830-3971. So if you want to call in, you know, please call in. One thing that the town got a bad rap for was, I guess during the parade, the Thanksgiving parade, the Mayflower 2 was not here. And a lot of people come down and they wanted to see the Mayflower 2, and the Mayflower 2 wasn't here. But that wasn't anything the town had to do with it. You know, that was part of the plantation, and I think I was told that it was taken out because they were afraid the weather might break and they would have had trouble getting it down to Connecticut.
Well, you know, if they didn't take the Mayflower out of here and get it down to Mystic, they would need no Mayflower. The wharf worms are eating the entire ship out, and because it sits in the mud at the low tides. So what they need to have happen is they need to get it dredged so the ship can float and not sit on the mud. Because the worms have to have access to oxygen. I went and researched these worms, by the way.
I knew you would.
And but it's enormously expensive because the ship is able to operate without navigational equipment and all the safety stuff because it is a historic replica. And that's why they have to put it back together as an historic replication. Otherwise, the Coast Guard would make them have lifeboats and an engine and radio equipment and on and on and on and on, because that's what the regulations are.
Right.
So they have to do it this way, and it's millions of dollars. They have to go find the white oak, have artisans recreate it. So anybody who wants to donate some money to the plantation, it's a very worthy cause.
And not only that, it helps our taxes because it brings tourists here. And that is one of our major industries in the town of Plymouth. I know people don't like the tourists because of the summer and the traffic.
I love the tourists.
But I'll tell you, they bring a lot of money into Plymouth. And they spend a lot of money here in our restaurants, our hotels, motels, our restaurants.
Gift shops. Gasoline stations.
Yeah, so it's, you know, and with that ship being gone for almost 3 years, that's going to hurt the economy of Plymouth. Because people,
it did the last time.
It did the last time, and it's going to hurt again this time for 3 years. Hopefully, you'll be back for 2020. They're hoping that it will be, but you know that's a big attraction. Hopefully, when the new town hall comes open, that the courthouse will bring people up to the downtown, and people will tour the town. You know, be able to go into the courthouse, and they're going to have a lot of artifacts there. The courtroom's going to be the same as it was back in 816, whatever hell it was, 1820.
Same as it was when I started.
Yeah, 1820. But the Daniel Webster Courthouse will be done just as it was. There'll be public bathrooms there, which we don't have enough of in Plymouth, so that's a good thing. The meals tax is paying for it, so I guess that's a good thing. And now the garage going in behind Burial Hill, that will bring 100 or so spaces. So that might help the parking problem. So there's, all this stuff, tourism, bringing people in actually helps our tax rate because it puts money in the general fund. We need the extra money, and because we got to do something with our roads. Our roads are in horrible condition. The JB, the director of DPW, come out and said that right now it would take probably $135 million to bring the roads up to where they should be. There's no way in hell we have $135 million. Unfortunately, the excise tax, which everyone thought would go to the town into a fund to pay for roads, doesn't. I don't know how many years ago, but they changed the law, and all that money goes into the general fund, and it's used for everything, schools, everything. So it doesn't go to the roads. The town of Plymouth doesn't spend one penny of our tax money, or maybe I think $500,000 they spend. That goes to fixing unaccepted roads. But the rest of the money comes from the state, which is what they call Chapter 90 money, and it's around $1 million something bucks. And it doesn't cut it. It's not enough. It's not enough to fix our roads.
Sid Cashy, our town engineer, told me some years ago that he needed $2 million a year just to maintain the roads.
Yep.
That is just to keep them from going further.
Yep. And I think a lot of the problem was, when I moved here back in 1978, shortly after I moved in, the planning board released the bond from the developer, which meant that the planning board accepted all the conditions that were put before the developer. The road was done, the drainage and whatever. The DPW director at that time, I think it was George Crombie. I could be, well, whatever.
No, it was probably Lee Peck.
So anyway, they decided not to accept any more roads. So my road sat there, unaccepted, even though it was built, to that day's standard. If it was accepted by the town, they could have been receiving Chapter 90 money. So 25 years later, they accept my roads. They, gee, your road's in bad shape. I said, no kidding. They haven't touched in 30 years. But that should, that's water. That should have been done, coulda, woulda, shoulda. But I wish now that they would be more freely to accept the roads so we can get them onto the Chapter 90 program so we can be able to get state funds.
Don't they have a program in which every year they take a certain number of streets?
Yeah.
Accept them?
Every year they take around 3, 4, 5 streets and they put them up for acceptance.
And a part of the reason that it's that slow is the engineering department needs to go out and properly document the road with all the engineering necessary, and that's a time-consuming and costly.
And they also all the people that live on that road have to sign off. Because a lot of times, the people own to the middle of the road. So when the road becomes accepted, the people have to sign off that the town will accept this road.
Right, because they don't want to have to pay eminent domain.
Yes, they don't want to pay eminent domain and stuff. So it's to their benefit. So most people, roads that have been put up in this program to accept roads have, the people who live on these roads have accepted it. So, Plymouth has a lot of problems. The source, we already talked about that a little bit. I don't know what's going on with the lawsuit. I know they're suing the company Viola, and if you look by the old water barn, you'll see all the pipes that they've pulled up, and they're all stored there. So I think that's for evidence or whatever. I don't know, but they're all there.
It's probably hazardous waste. They have to get
That
rid of
too,
them.
but so hopefully we'll get some money back from them, and maybe I think it's a $48 million sewer bill won't be as much as we think it's going to be. We probably won't find out until the spring, because the town borrowed interest-free money for 2 years. So, they right now they don't know exactly what it's going to cost because they not finished the construction yet. So, but that's another big thing that we have to look forward to in our tax rate.
It'll be years before you get
Before it gets
how
to
that lawsuit ends up.
Yep, and they could go out of business by then. Who knows? You really don't know what's going to happen. So, but eventually the town's going to have to pay the bill because they got to pay the contractors. Until and then if they get money from the lawsuit, fine. But please call. We got about 10 minutes left, 5 minutes left. Somebody wants to call, or add anything, or if I'm wrong about something, please jump on the air and tell me.
I understand you've never been wrong.
Oh, I'm wrong most of the time.
No, he's never wrong. Never wrong. I heard a replay last night of the Board of Selectmen meeting. They're rethinking road betterments. That's on the agenda. They're also going to take a hard look at taxing not-for-profits that own real estate in the town. And there was one more thing that the town manager said. They're looking at ways to come up with a revenue enhancement officer that doesn't clash with the union representation of the town.
All these, go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's it. I had those 3 points.
All these things were brought out by the Revenue Task Force that was started 18 months ago,
Yes.
2 years ago, something like that. And they made all their recommendations, and they worked hard. I was on it when it first started, but I didn't, when it was disbanded, the time was up and disbanded, I didn't choose to get back on. But a lot of work went into it, and what they're doing is that they researched other towns like Boston and other towns like that. I think Cambridge was another one, I forget all the towns. And those towns went in and found out that, nonprofit groups own property, and that property makes money. So, and they're tax-free. So now the city went back to them and said, look, we want to, we want you to come in and kick in, a tax. It's not, I guess they can't call it a tax, but, some type of revenue to pay back to town for the services that they receive. If they're making money, fine, but you're going to find a lot of nonprofits like the churches are just breaking even. The Congregational Church is looking for money all the time to replace their windows. They don't have any money. So, if you can find, nonprofits that have it, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. What was the other one, Ken? Road betterments. I didn't hear anything about that. I didn't know if that was part of their I don't think that was part of the Revenue Task Force, but I could be wrong. When I look at road betterments, the way I look at it is people pay property taxes, they pay for their roads, they pay for everything. Now, you get people down in South Plymouth or other places in town, they don't have sewer, they don't have water, they don't have hydrants, they don't have sidewalks, they don't have lights. So, I don't know. But I don't think a road should be a betterment. I think if you hook up to the sewer, that's a betterment. If you want town water and the main water pipe goes in and you want to hook up, then that should be a betterment. But roads are not a betterment. I know when they put the sewer line down 44, that the places along McDonald's, Algonquin Heights, all the way up, I think, to the new Market Basket is
No, it just went to the drugstore.
Okay, I'm sorry, the drugstore, Walgreens.
Yeah.
And across the street, they all had to pay betterments to hook up to the source. So, but as far as roads, I wouldn't support any kind of betterments for a road.
I'd have to see what it's all about.
I know there was some talk that they were going to come up with a program, the town manager and DPW director and the finance commissioner, about taking some of the money from the excise tax and using some of that money to put towards the roads, but I think that was supposed to come back before the selectmen. I don't think it has. I haven't missed that many meetings lately, and so I don't think that's come before them. So.
I think it's misunderstood her because her nose was running and she kept pulling her nose.
Yeah, well, it's I couldn't support a road. I couldn't support a road betterment.
I have to see what it is. I don't know what that form that would take.
See, I don't know. We've covered a lot tonight. Wish we had some more phone calls.
That's because you and I intimidated them. And they were watching Bill O'Reilly.
A lot of people watch. A lot of people tell me they watch, so I don't know. And if there's a woman named Sandy and her twin sister Sonia are watching, hi girls. It was good to see you the other day at CVS. I met them at the Council of Aging. They're great people, and I just wanted to say hi to them. I don't know if we're going to have a show next week. I don't know when the next show will be. There's one show scheduled next week, so stay tuned. You have the phone number. Call. I don't know who the guest will be yet, but I'm sure it'll be somebody. Right, Ken? There will be somebody here. There you go. I know sometimes people rather look at a blank screen, but, really, we're glad you watched. And you can think of anything else? I don't know.
Well, I'm proud of myself for avoiding personal attacks on people and that sort of thing. No, there's a ton of things you could talk about. I don't have the solutions to everything.
Nope.
I mean, when I was younger, I did, but now I don't have the solution to everything. I hope my kids don't hear this. So.
Yeah, I'm a town meeting member. I'm active in the town, and I try to.
I was a town meeting member for 9 years. I declined to run again because I find the town meeting to be an absolute waste of time.
I wish that there would be another form of government. I would like to see a mayor or a city council. I don't know if that will happen.
You have a city council with a mayor.
Yep.
Strong city council, weak mayor.
That's what we need. We need someone to run the town have meetings every 6 months to vote on stuff. Well, I guess that's it. We're going to call it quits for the night. I want to thank Ed for being here, and
thanks for having me.
And Tim and Wesley and Andrew. We hope to see you sometime when we have the next show, the Three Amigos, the original three. Other than that, see you in 7. I don't know if Karen will be here or not, but there will be someone here. Ken's always here. We can't get rid of him. We tried firing him, but he always comes back. And yeah, like a bad penny. That's all he's worth. I'm only kidding, Ken. I love you. So, like I said, we'll probably see you in 7. We're glad you watched, and have a good night. Thank you.